Hello, Africa. Hello, world. Tell me how you're doing. Welcome to a LinkedIn a live stream that you'll also find on YouTube, a live stream that's going to be sharing some of the things that I have observed as I've worked with students, as I've worked with career service providers, as I've worked with those who have helped students find economic opportunities. This session is really to share the best practices around how, first of all, you build out a great profile. Secondly, it's to share with you how you as a student can go out there, find jobs, find internships, and enter into the full world of work. I thank you for joining me on this short video. This video will serve to help you mentor, coach, or manage your own personal profile. So if you're a graduate, a young student, or a professional in Africa who is just starting out your career journey, coming out of college or a TVET, well, I encourage you to spend the time on this particular video as I will cover what are the things that are important to have on your profile. The things that are important to have on your profile purely come from the fact that your profile, which is a professional representation of you, should speak volumes about you when you're not in the room. When managers and recruiters are hiring, they're looking at hundreds or thousands of profiles. LinkedIn is an environment today that has well over 700 million profiles. With that in mind, what are the things you need to do to ensure that your profile stands out as a student? Number one, make sure that you take full ownership for it. Making sure that you've taken full ownership for your profile starts with you first going into your privacy settings. So before you edit your profile, before you start the journey of writing out the story of who you are, I encourage you, first of all, to go into your privacy settings. While in your privacy settings, make sure to switch off notifications that go out to the world when you're making changes. You want to do this whilst the world is not looking. So go in and change your settings to ensure that as you make changes and edits to your profile, they're not being distributed to the entire world. Once we've gone through this session and you can firmly articulate the type of job you'd like to go into, where you are in your career journey, and what experience and things you've done in the past that will help represent you, only then will we then open up our profile for the world to view. There are certain things that we can do on our profile whilst our profile is masked. And then there are things where we'll have to open up our profile in order to get the rest of the world to act on our profiles. So what are the things I'd encourage you to do as a student? First of all, get a great photograph. Yep, I said it. Use your phone or someone else's smartphone to take a great representation of you. So how do people in the industry that you want to work in dress? Do they wear ties? Do they wear shirts with no ties? Do they wear jackets? What do they wear? So that you can understand what type of image you want to have for your profile. 60% of that profile photograph really should be your face. Remember, when they search for you, or when you search for someone on LinkedIn using a mobile device, you have small real estate in which to see the person's photograph. So focus on your face, 60% of it. Have a warm, welcoming smile that tells the professional that you are. Next, your headline. Now, by default, LinkedIn picks up what is your work experience, your last work experience, and makes that a headline for you. But you can own this expensive real estate. This real estate is where you get to start telling the story of who you are as a student and what you aspire for. So are you a marketing student that is currently studying, but aspiring to work in the technology industry to help tell better digital stories for the telecommunications industry. That story outlines who I am in terms of what I'm studying, what I am learning currently, and which industries I'd love to work in. Your LinkedIn profile is the digital billboard of who you are. It's not static. So, as your career aspirations change, as you have more conversations with your parents, with your guardians, as you have more conversations with your lecturers, more conversations with the career advisors, you can come back here and change this story, change the headline. In terms of storytelling, next opportunity you have is to write a professional summary about yourself. So, what can you write about yourself? Well, ask the people around you. What is it that you bring to the table that makes you stand out? What soft skills? Where are your passions? Where are your instincts? What are your experiences? What impact would you like to bring in which industry and in what role? But you want to keep this short. This is the place where our hiring managers and our recruiters tend to spend most of their time. This is the place where you tell your digital story. Make it succinct because remember, you're trying to make it easier for them to identify you for a job, to identify you for an internship. So keep it short and keep it practical. Keeping it practical means you're using industry terminology from the industry you'd like to work in, keywords, abbreviations, telling a story that will help make sure that your profile is organically found and that when a hiring manager reads it, it speaks to the passion of what impact you would like to bring into the workplace. So when you think about your jobs and when we start creating our career strategy and our career plan and knowing who we want to work for, knowing the types of problems those industries have, then we can articulate our professional summary. And don't be afraid to ask for a call to action in your professional summary. You're a student, so be open and transparent and mention the fact that you are looking for internships. Mention the fact that you are looking for permanent placements or that you're looking for freelance work. You're looking to do gig work. You're looking to volunteer your time for small businesses, for incubator hubs. What is it that you're willing in terms of doing work to show your credibility? So show up as the professional you are on LinkedIn by starting to articulate your professional story. Show up on LinkedIn and shine as the individual that you are. And help the technology and the companies find you. We help the technology find you. And when I talk about technology here, what I mean is organizations are now using something called ATS, Applicant Tracking Systems or Applicant Tracking Solutions. These are technologies that have been put in place to drive efficiency, so that our recruiters and hiring managers are not looking at hundreds of resumes, but are really looking at a fine short list of 6 of the best candidates. Candidates that have used words that speak to the industry, candidates that have profiles that are alive, candidates that have demonstrations of the work that they've done that helps tell their professional story. So show up and shine on LinkedIn because it's time to shine as the young professional you are. As the young professional you are, I'm encouraging you now to look around you, your ecosystem, your parents, your guardians, your lecturers, people you know. Are they on LinkedIn? Are you connected to them? What stories do they tell? What's the outline of the jobs they do? What impact are they trying to bring? How can you reach out to these connections to have meaningful connections? Connections where you're asking for information about how they've transcended in their careers, what skills they've acquired, how to get into organizations like they work in. What are the things they do extracurricular that help them stand out in the professional community? Which groups do they join? Which hashtags do they follow? Remember, as a young professional, what you're asking for is information that will help build your story. I know it's tempting to reach out and ask for a job. That's not the time to do it. This is not the time to do it. The time to do it is when you've earned the credibility, when you've interacted with the content for that person, when you understand the job they do, when you understand whether they can hire or not hire, when you understand the culture of the organization, and most importantly, when you've done the research to understand the types of jobs and roles they advertise. A rookie mistake here is to reach out to your contacts and say, what jobs are in your company? Do the research, do work. Learn about the organization, learn about their company, learn about their competitors, learn about what success is to them. This will help you define your profile authentically. This will help you when you have that interview. This will help you get an in into an organization. Research shows that when you don't have someone recommending you for a job, your chances of getting in with all your skills, experience, and qualifications is 1:10. But when you have someone within that organization who's rooting for you, who's happy to endorse you, who's happy to write a LinkedIn recommendation for you, who's happy to give you an intro to the hiring manager, who's happy to introduce you to the recruiters, that will reduce your chances and increase your odds to be 1:3. So it's important that you start networking. Start thinking about all the people that have had a positive impact in your life. LinkedIn is not a popularity contest, so I'm not asking you to connect with everyone in the world. I'm asking you to connect with the people you know, the people you would like to work with, the people that inspire or coach you or mentor you, the people that you don't know, the executives, the hiring managers, the recruiters. You can start getting to know them by simply following them on LinkedIn. You don't have to be connected to them. You can just simply follow them and see the content that they have. So go on to the person's profile. There's a drop-down button there that will give you more options on how to connect with them. Follow them and only connect with the people that you know. And once you start doing that, you can start reaching out to the people you know to start getting informational interviews. Interviews that tell you about the organization, the problems they're solving for, the challenges they have, how someone has gone through their career, how they joined that organization. Do this and do this now. You have the time. You understand how social media works as a young person. The difference with LinkedIn is that it's a professional network. So go in and understand how professionals are communicating on LinkedIn. Understand the tone they use. Understand the language they use. Understand how they connect with each other. Because as we reach out to connect to people, let us be intentional. It's very easy to click the button that says connect, but it's so much more powerful to click and give the person the reason why you want to connect. I want to connect to learn more about your industry. I want to connect to learn more about how you got to where you are. I want to connect so that I can get the content that you share on a regular basis about this topic, which is in line with my career goals and aspirations. Let us now take a small commercial break, and we'll come back in and look at how to apply for jobs and how to get internships on LinkedIn. Welcome back. Like I said, this stream today is particularly to help graduates, students, and young professionals in Africa start their careers on a professional platform like LinkedIn. If you are a student, if you are a graduate, I encourage you to share this content with other young professionals that you know that are currently on this journey of finding jobs and finding internships. If you're a parent, a guardian, a career services professional, I encourage you to share this with your community. I created this video so that we can work at scale. As much as I receive requests all the time to talk to schools and institutions, we need to work at scale. And working at scale is creating content like this that you can review and that you can share with your community so that all of us have equal opportunity, equal knowledge to opportunities that are coming up. Next, I wanted to move into how you get jobs and how you find internships on LinkedIn. How we start this is, of course, with our profile. What have we said about ourselves? Because the LinkedIn algorithms and technology then goes out and finds jobs that are related to the things that we've said. We have skills, experience, endorsements, or recommendations around. So let the technology work for you by ensuring that your profile uses terminology and uses keywords from the industries you'd like to work in so that ultimately when jobs surface, they come to you. Next, you want to make sure that you're learning about the industry. And what better place to learn about the industry than to learn about the industry you'd like to work in by investigating it on LinkedIn. So who are the companies that you want to work for? Who do they compete with? What's the differentiation point for both of those? How are those companies communicating the services and products and solutions that they offer to their stakeholders, their citizens, and those who acquire solutions from them? Once you've understood the world of work you want to go into, you can then throw your learning behind acquiring soft skills by acquiring product insights, by acquiring thought leadership around the areas that you want to go and work in. And when you've acquired this knowledge, I encourage you to share it with those who are also on the platform, those who are looking to learn. Share what you've learned. Share the insights that you have around particular topics. This will serve as a great cover letter for the young professional you are. The more you share, the more you will find other people will course correct you, other people will compliment, other people will amplify, and other people will jump into your conversations. If anything, this will help grow your social capital. By you posting content or by you interacting with other professionals' content, by following certain hashtags, following certain individuals, posting content, and showing the expert that you are, opportunities will now increase more and more for you as an individual. This helps you get noticed. What you want is to be so good that the hiring managers notice you. They notice your passion. They notice the keywords you use when you post. You're using hashtags from your industry. You're using trending topics to start conversations about what you think about certain processes, about what you think about certain products, about what you think about certain jobs and the opportunities that lie in them, about what you think about impact. Take advantage of the LinkedIn platform that communicates with professionals who are like-minded, and share content and start conversations and start engaging. Because if you don't engage and you just set up a profile, it will be tough, or it will take time for jobs and opportunities to start flowing your way. So take advantage of the various sections of your profile to show your volunteer experience, to show digital images and representations of you doing work, of the projects you've worked on a link to your thesis, on a link to your final project in school, highlighting the experiences you've had as a student volunteer, the experiences that you've had working in the family business, the experiences that you've had as a young entrepreneur. Yes, you might have tried to run a business, it started and it failed. But what are the positives you have learned? And how are you applying those positive messages around being an entrepreneur into the things you're learning and the things that will shape out your professional career? How are you telling a story that makes your profile show you're an entrepreneur? That you didn't wait for jobs and opportunities to become available, that you went out and you did work. How are you shining on a platform for professionals? There's several things you can do here immediately as a student. As a student, you can go and document the skills that you think you have today, the skills that you know you have today. And the more we network, the more we connect to people. As I said, it's not a popularity contest. We're connecting with people who know us. Those people will endorse us. So only the people who are our first degree connections can endorse us. And when they endorse us, what it does is that it tells hiring managers, it tells recruiters that you and someone else has vouched for the skills that you say you have. Next, you can go in and seek recommendations. Recommendations are phenomenal for students. Recommendations are powerful for students. And here's the reason why. You want to make it easier for the hiring manager, the recruiter, to select you as one of the 6 or 2 people that we interview from the list of 250. You want to stand out and demonstrate that you have been doing things in advance of you having an interview to help build your professional brand. So reach out to your lecturers, reach out to your college professor. Have people write recommendations about that school project you did, recommendations about the time you volunteered, the time you were a teacher's assistant, the time when you led a CSR initiative for the university, the time when you were the student leader for the debate club. Go out there and intentionally ask for recommendations. Recommendations, as I said, are written recommendations or written testaments about you as a young professional you are. So how you might want to do this is for you to reach out, like I said, to your lecturers, your professors, your teachers, or anybody else you have worked with. So it might have been the local pub where you were doing part-time work. It might have been the restaurant at which you were delivering products for, or it might have been in the family business. Get those recommendations. And the best way to seek recommendations is to make it easier for people to give you recommendations. So as a young student, how you can go about this is, of course, to reach out on LinkedIn. But before you reach out on LinkedIn, maybe have a human conversation with that individual. Maybe on the phone, maybe over a video like this. But what you want to do is jog the memory of the person before you ask. And once you've jogged their memory, again, as you ask them, jog their memory further. Dear Professor, I'm reaching out to you as I'm about to start my career journey. I'm starting my career journey on LinkedIn. I volunteered, or I did this project, or I led this initiative, and as a result, you observed the following 3 things about me. I'm putting these down below so that you can either use the same words or you can put your tone to what you observed in me. I ask you please to use the words below and add them to my LinkedIn recommendation. Now, this will go out to your professor, your lecturer, or whoever you're asking for as a reference. They can choose to cut and paste the words you've given them, or they can choose to use their own words and their own tone. The beauty about it is, as a student, you're the first person to vet it. So when they write about you, you get to see it before the rest of the world gets to see it. So check and make sure that they've correctly put in your name, or if there's any spelling mistakes or anything else that you might think will embarrass them or embarrass you, maybe you could ask for a revision. But get recommendations. It makes it easier for the recruiters to understand the credibility that you purport to have. It makes it easier for the hiring managers to see the network that you have, the network that can attest to the skills and the professional that you are. It helps hiring managers see what things you brought onto the table when you had the part-time job, when you did the internship, or when you worked in the family business. Get recommendations because you're making it easier for them to choose you as a student. And make sure that as a student, there's a couple of things that you've done on your profile that ensure that you're found organically. To be found organically, make sure that your school is correctly associated with your profile. How you make sure that your school is correctly associated with your profile is for you to ensure that the school logo, if they have a presence on LinkedIn, it's showing. So how you do this quite simply is click on the little pencil as you're editing your profile, go in there and type in the first words for the institution. University of PDX, whatever the name of your university is, start typing in the first 3 letters and let LinkedIn bring up the suggested names. And when LinkedIn has brought up the suggested names, click on the one that it is, and your profile will be associated with that university. This helps you stand out as an alumni. When you're searching for a job and you've correctly linked your profile to your university, you can also go in and look at the alumni page for your university and see the people who went through the same educational curriculum as you. Where do they work? Where do they live? What jobs are they in? Are we connected? Now you can use this to start finding out more about the organizations you'd love to work for. When you find out more, it makes you smarter at using your time at applying for companies where you believe you're the right fit. where you believe they have the types of jobs that you aspire for. So make sure that your school is correctly associated with you. And if your school doesn't have a LinkedIn presence, and if your school doesn't have an alumni page, reach out. We can help them get an alumni facility that will allow you and other people in your school or those who've attended the school to correctly associate themselves with the institution. This is powerful, folks, because this is the network world. Before you ask for the job, before you ask for the internship, you want to use your alumni to reach out, to get recommendations, to get endorsements, to get insights into the jobs and the problems they're solving for. So do yourself a favor and ensure that your university is correctly associated with your profile. And like I said, if you've worked before as a professional, make sure when you put in your work experience that you've correctly put in the name of the organization. And how you can tell is by ensuring that the logo of the company is showing with your profile. If it's not showing, it's kind of like the schools thing. Go back in, click on the little pencil, delete what you've written, type the first three letters of that organization, and when LinkedIn pops up the name of the organization, click to select. Once you've done that, your profile will be correctly associated with people that have working in that institution. I say worked and working because it depends where you are with your career journey with that institution. Let's be authentic. Let's be genuine. Let's ensure that our profiles are a best digital representation of ourselves. And as a student, go a step further to make sure that when you put in your profile, you're correctly specifying the location you're in. This is important because some of our recruiters search for interns within a 300-kilometer radius, a 100-kilometer radius. They might even search based on the location because they don't want to transfer people from different towns. This can work in your advantage if you use it properly. So make sure that you've highlighted your location correctly. What you can do is if you aspire to work in different locations, you can go into your LinkedIn settings, you can go into your job settings, your career settings, and edit those settings to specify that I'm looking for work in the following geographies. I'm willing to relocate. I'm willing to do part-time work. I'm willing to volunteer. I'm willing to take on full-time work or freelance work. Whatever journey you're on as a professional, tell that story on LinkedIn. And while you're spending time on your career settings, on your profile settings, you now have a unique opportunity to do two things that will help you stand out as an individual. Number one, you can state that you're open to work. This puts a green logo underneath your profile photograph, allowing recruiters, allowing hiring managers, allowing your network to know you're open to work. Next, you can go in and help people pronounce your God-given name. We're in a global economy. And being that we're in a global economy, opportunities are not always from our own country. Opportunities are not always from people who speak the same language as us. So with that in mind, how do you make sure that people know how to pronounce your name? So on LinkedIn, you can go in and personalize it by putting in a small voice note that will help people pronounce your name. You're an individual. Tell your story as an individual, who you are, what you're studying, what roles you aspire for, and the impact that you want to bring into the world of work. How are you shining as the young professional you are? How are you learning from the people who have gone before you? How are you learning from looking at other students' profiles? How are you learning by reaching out and getting informational interviews from hiring managers? How are you learning about workplace etiquette from your family, your friends, your relatives, and those who have studied in the same universities as you? How are you learning to make sure that when you get an opportunity to have that interview, you are able to show digital representations of the work you've done to prove that you're the candidate they should be hiring? You're the candidate to take on the internship. So how are you showing your final school year project? How are you showing digital, electronic, rich media that allows people to see visual representations of your work? Is it a photograph? Is it a set of slides? Is it a PDF document? Is it a video? I encourage you to have short videos that you can use in certain instances to be the cover letter of the professional you are. Short videos that show you demonstrating a particular skill. Short videos that tell the story of the impact you want to bring or the proof point around what you have done. Short videos that highlight you in the best possible light. It's time to shine as a professional. LinkedIn gives us the opportunity as students to go, to find, and to be found. How would you like to be found? How are you going about finding? And how are you going about to do work to ensure that you shine and that you're selected? Welcome back to this recorded session. Like I said, it's purely aimed at our college attending, our high school attending, our university attending students, and those who have recently graduated. Before you embark upon finding a job, before you embark upon finding an internship, it's similar to embarking on a journey. Before you go on a journey, you will invest time in planning for the trip. While as you build out your career strategy, I encourage you first to invest time in understanding yourself, in understanding the organizations that you want to work for, the types of roles they are hiring for, the types of language they use, the types of professionals they hire, the types of skills those professionals have. I encourage you as a young student to be curious, to be always learning, to join groups on LinkedIn for professionals that represent the industry you want to work in. What are the topics they're sharing? What is the content people are engaging with? What are the hashtags? Who are the people who are trending in that industry? Who are the companies that are hiring? With all of this knowledge, I encourage you to then take it in, contextualize it in the form of your profile, which is your professional brand. Contextualize it in the content that you will share with your network. If you want to find out what's the most powerful thing to do on LinkedIn, I'll tell you right now, it's educating. Educating others on the opportunities that exist. It's educating others on the things we have learned. It's educating others on the experiences we've had and how we have transcended from there. It's educating others on the skills we bring, and it's educating others so that we encourage engagement. So when you share content on LinkedIn, you're encouraging other people to engage with it. You're encouraging other people to share their point of view. You're encouraging other professionals to share with you some of the insights you might have missed. You're encouraging other professionals to start identifying you, to start associating you with an industry, with a technology, with a product, with a service, with a process. What is it you want to be known for? What do you want to be known as an expert for? And what are the things you are doing today to learn, to network, to engage, and to demonstrate your expertise? What are the things that you're putting into your headline, your LinkedIn headline? Do it right now. Pick up a phone. Search for anyone. The first thing you'll notice is their photograph. And if they don't have a photograph, you'll start wondering, why don't they have a photograph? Should I connect with this person? What are they hiding? The same mindset goes through recruiters, hiring managers when they look up your profile. Chances are you'll read that person's summary. When you've read their summary, how are you telling your story in your summary? I'm a student. Maybe not. Let's change it this way. You might then say, university honors student in marketing, aspiring for public relations associate roles in telecommunications. That helps someone understand where you are in your career journey, what you aspire to do, and the industries you're most passionate about. And speaking of industries, as a student right now, as you grow your network, as you start connecting up with people you know, your family, your friends, your relatives, professionals that taught you, where you've done internships, where you've worked before, I encourage you, as you do that, to start following the groups and to start following the companies that appeal to you. Because this tells recruiters a story. Remember, I said your profile should be a representation of you when you're not in the room. So how is this a representation of you when you're not in the room? When we start following individuals, or when we start following influencers, when we start following companies, this tells recruiters our interest in that industry. So you want to be mindful about the companies that you follow. Are they all in one or two industries? Does this allow you to show and learn from that sector? Also, influencers, are they from the sector you'd like to work in? And if they are, great, because when someone reviews your profile and sees the companies you follow, sees the influencers you follow, and sees the content that you write, and then gets to see your rich profile, which has images, videos, slide shares, documents, which talks all about this particular industry that you have said you have a passion for. This helps tell your story. And if you're thinking dynamically, if you're thinking as a go-getter, if you're thinking as a student who wants to shine over other students, I encourage you to write articles on LinkedIn. Write articles sharing your perspective. Keep them short. Write articles giving precedence or giving accreditation or giving reference to the people where you've learned certain things. An article that is worthy of reading. An article that you must ask yourself, would I read it if I saw it? So what's in the headline? What does it teach me? What does it make me think? Write articles, because what will happen is when you enter into the world of work, these articles could be your cover letter. These articles could be your conversation breaker. These articles could be the very articles investors, recruiters, and hiring managers might read and then get to know you better as an individual. When you write articles on LinkedIn, it reaches the far widest reach on LinkedIn as an individual. Not updates, articles. So write articles, use hashtags, use images, use short videos that have great subtitles so that those who don't speak your language, those who are hard of hearing, can watch these. Repurpose content that is professional, that helps tell your professional story. Repurpose content that you're reading on other platforms. Repurpose content that you have shared on other platforms. So if you see something great on Twitter that you think can help your industry, put your own perspective to it and write a small article or write a small update on LinkedIn and share it with your network. Add images that will help bring it to life. Write articles about your experience as a student, in raising funds, in studying abroad, in looking for internships, in looking to change the world of marketing. What is it that you have experienced that another professional can learn from? That's when I talk about doing work, showing your relevant experience. Whether it's a part-time job, full-time job, or family business, what have you done to show the work? And then when you go out to find those jobs, I encourage you to leverage the power of your network. To leverage the power of your network by leveraging your connectedness. Your connectedness to surface opportunities without you asking for them. So it goes back to that content you're sharing. How is that content organically driving people to you? How is that content with the hashtag it has opening you up to those who are hiring, to those who are looking for interns, to those who are looking for investors, to those who are looking for those with a growth mindset? How are your updates telling your story? And in telling your story on LinkedIn, like I said, there's a couple of ways to do it. Take your time in building out your LinkedIn profile. Break it up into sections if you have to. But as you do it, you want to do it well. And you want to do it with a mindset knowing that your career journey, your career trajectory, your aspiration, your skills will change over time. So tell the story of now. And if we're thinking about now, we're students. What else can help us stand out as students? Recommendations, endorsements, our story, or even simplifying how people find us on LinkedIn. You can own your own URL on LinkedIn. By default, the technology on LinkedIn gives you a long URL when you set up your profile. What is that, you ask me? If you look at the top of the page of your browser, when you've got LinkedIn open, it's got an address. You can go and own that address and change the last portion to just be your first name and your last name. You're helping the algorithms find you. You're helping the technology find you. And you're making it easier later on when you print a resume, when you print a business card, when you create a website, for you to use a succinct, simple URL that will help people find you. I hope you've been inspired by the content I've shared over this session. I hope you've learned things that you can apply on your personal profile as a young professional, as a student, as a university graduate. I hope you have learned content that you can share with other students, that you can share with other professionals, that you can share with those who are giving you career guidance, coaching, and mentorship. I work at scale with universities. Unfortunately, I'm not able to assist every single person who reaches out to get help on their profile. I have a YouTube channel, and I'm shortly going to put up the address for my YouTube channel so that you can go in as a young professional to go in and watch videos that will help you prepare for interviews, videos that will help you prepare to find jobs, to find internships, how to network, how to communicate on LinkedIn, how to increase your reach, how to upload digital content, rich media onto your profile. I encourage you as a career services professional or as a young student to go in and subscribe to this channel and to watch those videos which will be about particular areas and going into depth. You've got this. You can self-service and get going in terms of building out your professional brand and your profile. You can start connecting with intent with the right people that will help guide your career journey. You can start today to follow organizations so you can see the jobs they advertise, to see their culture, to see how people dress in that company, to see the activities they do with their customers, to see the problems they're solving for, to see the impact they're bringing into the communities they serve. Do the research. Be smart as a student. Invest in learning. Invest in understanding organizations so that when you reach out, when you connect with a professional, with an alumni, when you eventually get into that room, or when you have an opportunity to have a virtual interview, you're asking smart questions. You're sharing that you've done research. You're showing that you've enthusiastically gone in to understand the organization. So do work. Do the work that shows you as the best professional you are. Do the work that shows that you're going to use people's time well if they give it to you. Do the work that helps you be found by the technology that LinkedIn provides. Do work, folks. It's time to shine as a candidate. It's time to shine as a graduate. It's time to shine as a student. It's time to shine as a parent, mentor, coach. It's time to shine as a career services professional. I encourage you to share this and other such type videos that you could find on my channel, or you can find on LinkedIn from other professionals. I encourage you to share these with your community. Each one teach one. Let us self-service. It's the time. It's the right time. It's the right time for you to get the right job. It's the right time for you to get the right skills. It's the right time for you to land the right opportunity. It's time to shine. It's time to shine as an African, and it's time to shine as a professional. I thank you for your time. I thank you for continuing to follow the content I share. I thank you for the questions. I ask, as I said, that we coordinate our efforts and that we bring together like-minded communities so that when we have engagements, we're coming together and we're getting answers together. And that through this togetherness, we all learn. But first, self-serve. Don't wait for the next live stream. Go onto that channel and start looking at some of the content that can help you or help somebody else that you know. I started off with a video, and I'd like to end off with a video that highlights the key things that are important to have on your profile. I thank you. I wish you good health. I wish you safety, prosperity, and productivity as you start searching for a job, as you start searching for internship. God bless you. Have a great day. Cheers now.